cool electronics enthusiasts? Welcome back to another segment of Cool Electronics Guy, where the electronics are cool and the guy, he drinks way too much beer. Speaking of beer, it's time for our beer of the day. This week's beer is another one from the Drecker Brewing Company in Fargo, North Dakota. It's another sour a la mode from their Slang du Jour series. This one is the Black Forest cake flavor. It's 6.8% alcohol by volume. I usually like a bit more, as I said in other videos, but this one holds its own. It has a very well-balanced flavor. It goes perfectly with the amount of alcohol that's present. This fruited kettle sour is just exploding with flavor. I love the last one so much, I had to try another one by this brewery. In the beginning, there's beautiful cherry flavors mixed with a subtle nuttiness. It then it transitions into notes of chocolate and vanilla. I think that everyone's going to love this beer. There's just so much flavor. It's just absolutely amazing. Beer Advocate rates it pretty high at 4.26 out of 5. And Cool Electronics Guy gives it a 9.5 out of 10. So please check out this brewery. They really know how to make a great beer. Thank you guys. Alright, let's get started with today's project. This is the 11th project in the Arduino Starter Kit. This one's called Crystal Ball. Arduino says this one will take about an hour to complete. They say it's a level 5 out of 5 difficulty, and it builds on the first 3 projects. This project is pretty similar to one of those magic 8 balls that, you know, they have a die with different outcomes on it floating in that blue colored water. At least the one I have has blue water in it. Except there's no dice in this project and no colored water. We're going to program a tilt switch to select one of 8 different program responses that we come up with. After we ask our questions to see into the future, we'll tip it, and that'll activate the tilt switch. One of our program responses will randomly appear on the LCD screen, so we'll be seeing into the future. We haven't used an LCD screen yet in any of these projects, so why don't we talk about that a little bit. An LCD can display numbers and letters. The one we're using today has 16 columns and 2 rows for a total of 32 characters. It works by changing the electrical properties of a twisted pneumatic liquid, which is sandwiched between polarized glass. There's a bunch of connectors on the board, as you can see in the pic. The pins are for power and communication and are thus explained. RS is the register. This controls where the characters appear on the screen. RW is read-write. This puts the screen in read or write mode. EN is the enable pin. It tells the LCD that it will be receiving a command. Then there's D0 through D7. They're the data pins. They send the character data to the screen. In this project, we're only going to use D4 through D7. There's also a connection to control the contrast, which we'll be doing with the potentiometer, which we've used potentiometers before. The components in this project are one 10K ohm resistor, one 220K ohm resistor, one potentiometer, one tilt sensor, one LCD screen, a bunch of jumper wires, and another delicious cold beer, since I'm just about finished with this amazing Drecker beer of the day. Alright, now we're going to walk through the build. We're going to connect power and ground just like the past projects. We're using the 5-volt pin on the Arduino. We're going to place a tilt switch on the board as shown and attach one lead to 5 volts. The other side's going to go to ground through a 10K ohm resistor, then to Arduino pin 6. There's a liquid crystal library in the Arduino IDE that handles writing to the LCD pins, and that really helps a lot. On the LCD, the 2 outer pins, VSS and LED, go to ground. Connect RW, read-write, to ground, so it goes into write mode. VCC is the LCD power. We're going to connect that to 5 volts. LED positive on the screen goes to power through a 220 ohm resistor. Arduino digital pin 2 goes to LCD D7. Arduino digital pin 3 to LCD D6. Arduino digital pin 4 to LCD D5. Arduino digital pin 5 to LCD D4. We're going to connect enable, EN, to Arduino pin 11, and then the RS, the register, to Arduino pin 12. That will enable writing to the LCD. I'm going to place, as you can see, the potentiometer on the board, one end to power, the other to ground, and we're going to connect the wiper, that's our center pin, to V0 on the LED. So that way we'll be able to adjust the contrast later on. So as you can see, we have it wired up. Take a few minutes and look at that, and we're going to move on to programming. Alright, so the project's all wired up, and we got our programming. We're working on that. So we're actually finished with the programming. We're going to scroll down a little bit. So we can see the rest of that programming. I hope you can see it on there. It looks kind of fuzzy on the computer here. But let's go back to our project here. So there's not a ton of programming for this project. You know, as you can see, I just showed you a quick look there. Make sure the first thing you do, though, is set up the liquid crystal library. There are pre-selected responses in the programming that will be activated with the tilt switch. You can put any answers you like for this. Be creative, have fun with it, but remember, there's only 16 characters per line. You can add your own responses, or even more responses. If you add more, just make sure to adjust the number option that will randomly populate the reply variable. So let's take a look at this. It's on, it's working. You can kind of see the screen there. Maybe we can tip it. It says the ball, whoop, got a little glare there. We could tip that forward a little bit. That's perfect. The ball says certainly. Let's ask it a question. Am I going to become a millionaire? The ball says doubtful. There's no surprise there, right? You can, oops, let me see. That's pretty cool. That tilt switch is really, look at it, really sensitive. It's really changing that quite a bit there. You can ask it whatever questions you want and have fun with it. You can adjust the contrast on the screen with the potentiometer. We did that, and it's like there's not much of a range on it. I mean, it's like on off pretty much. So now that you understand the basics of how to operate an LCD, check out some other functions in the liquid crystal library. See, you know, maybe you can make it scroll on the display. There's a lot of different things you can play with. So that pretty much wraps up this fun little project. If you have any questions or comments, you know, please feel free to leave them below. Our next project is the 12th one in the Arduino Starter Kit. It's called Knock Lock, and it might be the toughest one yet. So be sure to check us out next week to find out. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to our channel and ring the bell. As always, drink some good beers and make some cool electronics. See you next time. Have a good one.